Got it? I'll call to order the City of Nisswa Planning Commission Board of Adjustment for Monday, November 6th, 2023. Start with meeting roll call.
Daniel Mendel.
Sean Weldon.
Gary Harris,
Dave Reese.
Maggie Wentler.
Bethany Soderlund.
Josh Young, Chair, is going to be late, so he'll be present in 10 minutes. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Do we need a motion to approve that? I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second? John, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passed. Looking for a motion for approval of the minutes for the October 3rd, 2023 meeting minutes. John approves.
Second.
Second, Sean. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. I didn't mean nay, so. At this point, we have an open forum. If there's anybody in the audience that would care to address the Planning Commission tonight, that doesn't have anything to do with with the agenda. Okay. Have a motion to open the public hearings?
Second. Right. Propose motion to open the
Open the public hearings?
public hearing to the agenda.
Yes.
Second.
No. We're a little bit jumbled here tonight. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, let's open with the first public hearing is the variance applications 028-23 to allow for construction of a 2,000 square foot accessory structure where the cumulative allowable accessory structure square footage is exceeded by 1,228 square feet with a side yard setback of 15 where 30 feet is required within the Shoreland Residential SR zoning district. Subject property is located at 22,990 State Highway 371. That's PID 282600673 and 282305512. Applicant and owner Scott Sadusky. Mr. Sadusky, I was going to say step up to the podium.
I remembered from last one.
Okay.
Thought I'd expedite this.
Yeah. Brittany or Bethany, I'm sorry. Do we have your report, please?
Thank you. The applicant is requesting a variance from section 20-93 accessory structure size setback and permit requirements for exceeding the cumulative square footage of accessory structures per parcel. The applicant is also seeking a variance from the 15-foot or from the 30-foot side yard setback to a 15-foot side yard setback. As discussed last month, there is an existing 36 by 48 foot detached accessory structure on the parcel. The property owner would be allowed without a variance to attach up to 2,079 square feet of attached storage or garage space to the main dwelling. The proposed accessory structure will be heated but not served by pressurized water. The proposed structure meets height requirements.
Scott or Mr. Sadusky, could you like tell us a little bit about what you're doing?
Yeah, so what I'm trying to do is I want to build a heated shop to store boats and various other things in. And I want to, rather than attaching the 2,100 square foot to the house, I want to put it behind the other garage that I have now so that you wouldn't even see it from the road, which is similar to the neighbor to the south of me, kind of what their layout is. I mean, I could attach it to the house, but it would look odd. So what I want to do is put it, you can see where the blue hand-drawn rectangle is behind the existing structure.
Yeah, this came before the commission last month, and then it was tabled till this month. I was under and it looks like even the variance application is looking for a side yard setback variance of 15 rather than 30. But the existing garage is about that same 15,
Right,
is it
that's,
not?
that's what I didn't know that I could get within that setback through the variance. Otherwise, I would have asked for that originally, but what I want to do is square it up with the other garage, so I can completely hide that building right behind the existing garage that's there.
And that's sitting at an angle to the side property line. So I assume are you gonna attach the new one to the
No.
other one? So
No,
it's gonna be freestanding.
it's gonna be
Okay,
freestanding.
I was kind of confused looking at the request and the.
Yeah, I'm
with-
gonna have
with it-
probably a
with it.
20-foot gap there. The other thing too, with where my septic is there, it would give me a little more room to stay away from my septic if I can go 15 feet from the northern property line rather than 30.
That was one of my main questions, because I was under the assumption that last month that you were gonna tack it onto the other garage, and so I guess I just misunderstood that, but.
No,
So will the new building be at 30 feet then, or are you at 15? Are you still
no,
requesting a
15,
variance for
that's why
15?
we waited till this month.
Okay,
I
okay,
wanna go, so I can put it again behind that existing garage. If I go 30, it would come out. I think it's, when I talked with Bethany, we thought that was like 17 feet, that one corner.
Approximately, and if you were to line that up, you would need a less than 30-foot setback
Right.
to accommodate that proposed project.
It would look more symmetrical and not odd if I put it 30 feet out, then I'm getting closer to my septic, and then you'd see it from the backyard, and I would like to just put it a little bit closer than what that picture shows.
are there any other questions or comments from the commission members, or?
No. Any initial feedback from the neighbor? No?
Yeah, I told him what I was doing. He told me, but I mean, it's hearsay, but he told me he was fine with it. It's kind of similar. If you look at what he did, he built a garage, you can kind of, it's tree covered, but he built one to the south there. It's just not in that picture. But south of where that cursor is on the screen, he built one right there. So it kind of looks similar to what he did.
Yeah,
We did not receive any additional comments either.
Okay.
yeah. I paid a site visit there last month before the meeting, and personally, I think what you're doing is the right way to do it. You know,
Right.
it'd be kind of an eyesore if it was sticking up by the house
It
at
would.
this point, you know, and it's a very unique property. Once you get a couple 100 feet from your house into the back, there's nothing back there but wilderness, so.
Yeah. And I kind of want to leave it that way.
Okay. In order to, planning commission has to act on findings of fact for the variances. Can we handle both variances with one?
Sorry, you can go through the questions and in regards to both of them. So you can just go through the questions one time, just answering for both.
Okay,
Mhm.
Let's say you're in favor of the setback but not the square footage, then we would need two separate findings of that. Technically
No.
approving one and not the other.
would we, you want to discuss these before the motion?
It would probably be most convenient if you
Okay.
just,
Okay.
yeah, determine the findings.
First question, is the variance in harmony with the purpose and intent of the ordinance and the comprehensive plan? Personally, I feel that the added storage building addition will be consistent with the adjoining commercial property to the north and will not be used as living quarters. So it's, I'd be in favor of that because.
I agree.
I agree.
You agree? Okay. Number two, is the property owner proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by the city and Nisswa Code of Ordinances? The applicant answered, yes, rather than build a 2,079 square foot attached garage to the house, which is allowed by ordinance, we would like to build a 2,000 square foot detached behind the existing garage to lessen the impact on the neighbor property, not viewed from the highway, and fit the lot better. I feel that the owner's response to this question is appropriate.
Agreed.
Agree.
Agree. Number 3 is the need for a variance due to circumstances unique to the property and not created by the property owner. Applicant's answer was that is correct. We could build an attached garage up to 2,079 square feet without a variance. We would prefer to build a detached garage to lessen the impact to the residential neighbor to the south and not be visible from Highway 371. The Planning Commission, and I would throw out that the Planning Commission finds that the need for the variance is due to circumstances unique to the property and not created by the property owner, because the owner's response is appropriate and the existing storage building also varies from the side 30-foot setback.
Agreed.
Agreed. Number 4, will the issuance of a variance maintain the essential character of the locality? Again, the applicant's answer would be consistent with the neighborhood and it would not impact the commercial property to the north. The residential neighbor just built an accessory structure to the south that we are proposing. The properties would look similar. The Planning Commission finds that the issuance of a variance will maintain the essential character of the locality because the owner's response, I feel, is appropriate. So.
Agreed.
Number 5, does the need for the variance involve more than economic considerations? Applicant, yes. Building an attached garage is possible, but would impact the residential neighbor. The Planning Commission finds that the need for a variance does make practical sense to add storage space to the east of the existing storage building rather than attaching it to the home.
Agreed.
Other pertinent findings, none. I look for a motion to approve both the setback and the size of the
Okay.
building.
I propose a motion to allow for the construction of a 2,000 square foot accessory structure where the cumulative allowable accessory structure square footage is exceeded by 1,228 square feet. Side yard setback of 15 feet where 30 feet is required within the Shoreland Residential's SR zoning district. And with the findings, and yep. And
Any additional conditions?
any performance conditions
Do you want to add any conditions
adhere to the application.
of such? I would assume that we'd need a soil and or a drainage plan of some sort to, during construction. Is that correct or not?
Most of that would be handled in the land use permit. Those are just
Okay.
requirements
Okay.
and erosion, stormwater,
Okay.
those things can be addressed. I did not feel the need to put a condition for a stormwater management
Okay.
plan just
Okay.
for this building alone. Dave, if you would like to comment, that'd be great.
Well, the way that runoff would come off the roof on this one is toward the property line or away from the property,
It'd be east-west,
east-west. Okay. So
and I'm several hundred feet away from the
directly
shoreline.
we're focusing runoff toward the property to the north where it's 15
No,
feet away.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna split it the other way.
And did you waive a certificate of survey on this?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Then there would be no other conditions. I have a second to the motion.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion as listed?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None.
Thank you all. I appreciate it.
I'll turn the meeting back to the chair.
Next item is variance application 029-23 to allow for the construction of a 12 by 26 addition to a legal existing non-conforming dwelling within the Shoreline Residential Zoning District. Subject property is located at 26216 Edna Lane, PID 280300615. Applicant Scott Peterson, owner Scott and Leah Ann Peterson. Is the applicant here? Okay, if you'd like to come to either the desk or the podium and state your name.
Scott Peterson.
Bethany, your staff report.
Thank you. The applicant is proposing a variance from section 2089 structure setbacks and table 2017 for a 94-foot OHW setback where 100 feet is required. The dwelling is a legal existing non-conforming structure. There's an approximate 12 by 6 foot area of the proposed 12 by 26 foot addition that would be within that setback. The proposed project meets all other requirements. There would be no increase in bedrooms. And the proposed impervious is at 8.7%.
If you'd like to just give us a brief overview of the proposal.
I just want to increase the size of the kitchen a little bit. And right now there's a laundry downstairs, down very steep stairs. And I'd like to bring that upstairs and bump just a little bit of our bedroom out so I can fit a little bathroom there.
Is there anyone present tonight that would like to make a public comment regarding this project? Okay, hearing none, I'll close public comments. Commissioner members, questions?
I don't have any.
I don't either. I
None.
think it's pretty.
I paid a site visit out there the other day and we chatted and looked at it. And it just, I think what he's proposing just makes sense. That existing building is already over into the setback by about that same 8 feet, I believe. And the site sits quite high over the lake. So it's, I don't see any problems with doing it. Is that the staircase that you're talking about? You'd referred to it more as a ladder than a staircase, but
Well,
were you gonna change that during the construction so that there's a
Yes.
safer staircase going to the basement then?
yes, I'll be able to move the door back about 3 feet, which will extend the run of the stairs
Right,
and lessen the
yeah, good,
incline.
okay. Just trying to clean up some dangerous things here too, at the same time, so.
Dave, any questions? No? Okay. If there are no further questions, I'll entertain a motion.
You wanna discuss these?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Six
Yes, we
things
have
first.
to go through the variance here. So same type of deal where we're gonna go through these questions and answer them.
Okay,
Is the variance in harmony with the purpose and intent of the ordinance and comprehensive plan? The applicant answered yes, I would like permission to add a 12 by 26 addition to the east side of the house. 6 by 12 area is located within the 100-foot water line. I think as a commission, we kind of agree that 94 versus 100, it's already meeting the setbacks of the structures that are already there. So we feel that's reasonable request.
Agree.
Agree.
You agree, John? Okay.
Is the property owner proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by the city code of ordinance? Applicant answered yes, the laundry is located in the basement. The steps are very steep and not safe. I would like to put in a laundry on the main level. So again, using the existing structure, it's in the harmony with the purpose and intent of the ordinance and the comprehensive plan, because it's existing structures and you're improving the structure that you currently have. So.
Agreed.
Agree.
Number 3 is the need for the variance due to circumstances unique to the property, not created by the property owner. Again, quite obvious. Yes, these are existing structures.
Agree.
Agreed.
Great.
4, will the issuance of a variance maintain the essential character of the locality? Applicant answered yes. Addition portion will match existing house and blend in with surroundings. I believe my addition will not negatively impact my neighbor. I would agree, and I feel it's also a better alternative to knocking it down and having more construction and more noise for your neighbors. So I would agree with that.
Agree.
Agreed.
4, will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? Through that, and does the need for the variance involve more than economic considerations? The answer is yes again. Applicant noted need for more space for the kitchen and laundry. The only side of the house that can be expanded is that one side, which would be within that 94-foot mark. So.
Agree.
Agree.
And I don't believe there are any other pertinent findings. So I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move approval of variance application 029-23. To allow for construction of 12 by 26 foot addition to a legal non-existing conforming dwelling within the Shoreline Residential SR District. Property is located at 2616 Edna Lane. Scott Peterson, owner. That'd be all according to the findings of fact, and the report is submitted by the planning department.
I second.
No conditions. Unless somebody else has some.
Staff conditions and recommendations.
Yes, sorry.
Any other discussion?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries.
Good luck.
Yep, good luck on the project.
Thanks.
You're gonna beat the frost? Gonna beat the frost?
Next item is an ordinance amendment 030-23 to adopt an ordinance amendment modifying chapter 20 land use development, section 2-249 parking and loading regarding on-street parking in Nisswa. Bethany.
Thank you so much. As you remember from, I believe it was last month, Police Chief Craig Taylor came and spoke, discussing the need to remove this from our ordinance. Included in your packet is the markup version, and we are looking for a recommendation of approval to forward to the city council.
If there's anyone that would like to make public comment towards this ordinance amendment, this is your opportunity. Okay, hearing none, I'll close public comments. I don't think there's really anything to add that we already kind of discussed in the last meetings and what he had said. I think there was concerns about being able to appropriately assign these rules to everyone. And that was kind of the issue that we're running into, where some people were being asked to do this and some people weren't. And that's just not
Correct. Yeah,
appropriate.
and as far as parking is concerned, that's something that the city council can direct staff to take care of and to analyze and to give recommendation. It just has no business being in our land use development chapter. So.
Yep. Any other discussion?
None.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
All right, I move to approve ordinance amendment 030-23 to adopt an ordinance amendment modifying chapter 20 land use and development, section 20-249 parking and loading regarding on-street parking in Nisswa.
That would be a recommendation.
Correct.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next item is CUP amendment 031-23 to amend condition number 13 of approved CUP and plat to allow for required grading for Nisswa crossings. The subject property is located at County Road 18, PID 281-20690, 281-20684, 281-20683, 281-20681. Owner Terra Vista Developers Incorporated, applicant Thomas Dean. Is the applicant here? Podium or desk? Bethany, your staff report.
Thank you. The Nisswa City Council approved the final plat of Nisswa Crossings on August 16th, 2022, with 20 conditions. During infrastructure construction this fall, it was discovered that condition 13 prevents the implementation of the approved grading plan by not allowing for alterations to vegetation within the 50-foot buffer. The developer proposes to minimize vegetation alterations to the buffer and to revegetate forest and shrubs, not to lawn, once the grading is complete. The attached document details the areas of impact. Condition number 3 states that the 50-foot buffer around the perimeter of the planned unit development shall remain in a natural state except for road areas. The vegetation in the buffer shall not be altered. Structures may not be constructed in the buffer. Staff proposes to amend condition 13 to the following. The 50-foot buffer around the perimeter of the planned unit development shall remain in a natural state except for road areas. Once grading is complete, the disturbed vegetation in the buffer shall be revegetated and maintained in a natural forested state. Structures may not be constructed in the buffer.
Yes, so I think if you look in the areas in the blue, they may not all be accurate for what we're really hoping to do. Initially, I'm not sure what happened, why. Our goal is to leave, 50 feet of natural vegetation around. And I think if you look at the blue line, I think we're out there on Thursday. I think Dave and Bethany, and really looked at, if you were to look there at lots 1, 2, 3, and 4, I think we actually were able on 1, 2, and 3 keep about a 60-foot buffer. We changed our grading swale and we have a deeper swale in the backyards, but we were able to make it work. It's not a desirable, maybe a flat backyard, but yet we understand that we had to keep within the 50, and I think we were able to keep that within 60 feet. 4 and 5, I believe we'll be able to make those work too once we're out there and switch some grading. I think the one where we're really asking for the CUP to be amended would be on lot 6 along that side. And then into the back, like if you're to, I don't know,
Zoom in.
yeah, I don't know who's running the so yeah, if you went to the left of the house pad, what happens right now, the house would fit in there, but we'd have like a 4-foot straight wall along the left side of the proposed home. So what we would like to propose is to keep, maybe like go not even within the whole 50 feet, 25 to 30 feet of that 50-foot on the, area that we said we wouldn't obstruct. It's about 11 trees to remove, grade it just so it works on the left side of the home. And then after that, if need be, reestablish with some new trees along that edge, just so we can get some decent grading along the house. The back where you see that blue line, I'm not really think from the engineer, we don't really need to go back in there. We're not integrating that. I think the lot line actually goes further back than what this map has drawn.
This document was prepared just to show where the approved grading plan, when this was approved, and where it overlays on top of that buffer. And so that's what you're seeing here, not necessarily what they're going to be doing. This would be the most that disturbance that you would see is the blue area.
But trees are being removed to facilitate the grading, is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, we looked and, it's like across the street in Pine Trails we're building. And that lot just kind of sat high and everything was crowned. It worked a little bit better as a custom grade lot, but when we were back, even when we proposed this grading plan, there's just really no way to make the grading work permanently without removing the majority of the trees in the padded areas.
I think it's pretty important that the trees that are removed are replaced and some kind of formula.
So, right here. These trees are, they aren't removing any trees within here. We're able to change their grading, move this grading from proposed grading up tighter.
Okay.
We're not removing any of those trees. We're able to remain a 50-foot buffer up here. So we changed our grading plan from what was initially approved to make these work. Is where if we were to come up here, really the only spot that we need to impact, you bring it down maybe a little bit further, is this area right here. But if you were to look inside the red lines, we have removed all those trees.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's not a concern. You can't build a development like this and put houses and roads and everything in it without removing
Yep.
trees. I understand
Yep.
that.
It's really that lot 6, that 50-foot buffer on the left-hand
Okay,
side.
but it's in the area that's in the buffer. Any
That's the
trees that
buffer.
are taken out of there,
Yep.
need to be replaced with some formula, whether it's caliper inches of trees or heights or something, but that should be worked out with the engineering
And that part
Planning, but-
we're fine with, right?
Okay.
I mean, anything we graded, we'd figure we would reestablish. That part we're not arguing.
Before we go any further, I'd like to give the opportunity for public comment. If there's anybody in the audience that would like to give public comment, you have 5 minutes. Please state your name and address.
My name's Don Menninger. I live on Pine Haven Road. Excuse me. Been a resident there for 35 years, so this is not new to me. We've discussed other developments in there in previous times. I find fault with this because I'm sure that they've spent thousands and thousands of dollars for surveyors, engineers to work all these things out. And the way this reads, it's cut down more trees for grading. Well, why didn't you work that out at the very beginning when you had your engineers on site, surveyors on site? Right now, that area looks like an apocalyptic wasteland. There's nothing there. That 50-foot barrier, I know one husband and wife over there that would be on the west, northwest portion of that. Their buffer is about 6 trees. Well, does bare ground count as a buffer? I'm not sure. And the revegetation, yeah, they revegetate all right. You cut down 100-year-old trees or more. I say 100 because the last time this was logged here was about 1920, and then revegetate it with 5-foot trees. It takes another 100 years to revegetate that. I'm not going to be here. You probably won't either. It's a shame that that had to be done that way. Also, the habitat that was destroyed, deer, squirrels, chipmunks, woodchucks, woodpeckers, and everybody else. It's very disappointing to see that it was done that way. When I can't remember the name of the development now, the one on the other side of 18, they left lots and lots of trees. Was that the same owner? Were you the same developer there?
Same owner, but he didn't develop it, they bought it through there. I'm just saying, the problem is all this land ran into like a hole, that one's an high ground. So just the natural state of the ground. I mean, ultimately, I understand, I'd like to leave as many trees as possible because it's just as beneficial for me. But to get the grading of those lots properly, when the houses are in it, just.
Yeah, that's all filled now. There are no holes there. So it's like I say, it's very disappointing. I'm not a tree hugger, and it's a good thing because pretty soon there won't be any trees to hug. Thank you for your time.
Any other comment?
Never having done this before, I'm not really sure how I'm going to do this.
Well, just, let's start with your name and address and we can go from
Okay,
there.
I'm Donna Anderson and we live on Pine Haven Road, 2 doors from the Lake Street now.
Okay.
Okay, so we're right close to the corner, which is part of what is up there on the top property. And as you look at that, the blue part, you can see that it narrows. And as I go out and measure, and you're supposed to have a 50-foot leeway there from our property line, it's not there. That concerns me. And I'm kind of like my friend Don. We like our trees, so leave them alone. I understand the need to build. I understand the money situation. But sometimes there are other things that are more important than that. And I'm just requesting that it be considered more carefully and that it would not be overlooked what those that have lived there for so many years want. Thank you.
Has this area up here already been cleared? I haven't done a site visit on it, so I don't know.
The areas in purple have not been cleared. No,
It has not been.
not these up here. No.
So the,
Oh, hold on. Is there any other public comment?
Hi, I'm Chris Kovar. I live on Pine Haven Road.
Deb Kovar. We're right in front of all of it.
You want?
I guess the problem is every time we look out, there's more trees going. So now if they're gonna go into the buffer, that's gonna take more. There isn't one tree standing in the middle or in any part of your whole new development. They're all gone. There must have been 100 taken, which I get with the new development, but also the construction on the findings of fact in the paperwork on number 14. It says that the division of land will not generate public nuisances such as offensive odor, fumes, dust, noise, vibration. My whole house has shook every day since this started. We literally have a video of my coffee pot shaking on the stove.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of that going on. And I know, you know, that is probably normal for the most part, but every single day, my house is vibrating with all of this. So I can't see it getting much better.
Anymore.
No.
Okay, and then I have a concern. Besides all that, I think it's house lot 1, 2, and 3. And perhaps number 4 there, right? Yeah, okay. The blue area. Along, that's our house right there. That's right next to the other. Are you done with the tree removal? You're done. Okay, but then you did you're finishing tree removal last week with a backhoe pulling them down, but then after they knock them down with the backhoe and then they run the fingers up and down the trunk of the tree to get rid of all the branches and they put the branches in pile, but and then stack the trunks, but all the remainder chunks of wood and there was trees like that, whatnot, but they dug a trench around in that outlot there and around our house and buried all that scrap. I have pictures of the big piles, but I talked to the DNR and the DNR said with time, that's gonna eventually turn into sinkholes. And some of these, some of this one is right. What do you call that? Your water drainage, a fall drainage? Swale. Huh? A swale. Through the back? Well, the way it's. Yeah, it's, well, a lot of that is right there, and within time. Where that drainage is, what the DNR say is it's gonna turn into a sinkhole. And in the outlot. It was, the grade of the outlot had a real good dip in it. They put a lot of wood in the outlot. And, the grade of the dirt is much higher than a lot of the trees that are in there, which I've got some literature on construction damage from the DNR. And, it's basically showing, when you rise or lower that more than a couple inches, you're losing that drip, the water and whatnot, but it can cause trees to die. And there's some remedies here to help that. Sure. Oh, I don't know if you guys would wanna look at this at all, or can I give you that to read over and think about? There is some remedies. It's like they also took a lot of the roots around the trees of that line there, and there's some remedies to dig 2-inch holes into the ground to 12 to 18 inches and fill them with sand, peat moss. So to help protect those 100-year-old Norways to live, hopefully. I'm just, I guess what I'm asking is, try to protect those trees, you know?
So, where, on the outlot, and I'm sorry, I wasn't there when they were grading.
Right.
Can you, I mean, I don't think we.
Here, I'll show you.
Outlot, and I'm more than happy to, yeah,
Okay. All right, so here we got the outline.
yeah.
And it looks like they went into here. They got a big deep hole in right about here. They buried a lot of right here, but they buried
Yeah.
tree straps all along.
It'll be over with soon.
It may be some in here. But I know for sure here, all through here, which.
I'd be more than happy to walk it with you, yeah, but I think we were out there Thursday with, equipment and measuring.
Yeah. I mean, here's that back of my driveway. Yeah. And then see all this rock and have it.
Yeah. So before you go any further, we're supposed to be directing the questions to us right now, not to the audience.
Okay, but. Yeah, there's a lot of brush buried in the ground. A lot. I've got pictures of video. If anyone wants to see it, I don't know. Would you like to? No.
I mean, if you have pictures, I would share it with city staff.
Okay. Well. Here's some of. I'm sorry. Here's them burying some of it right in the outside. To me, that looks like the outside. And here's the dirt that I'm talking about. This grade came deeper down. It's filled up higher because it's underground. It's so full of rust. But yeah, it's like, see that huge pile? That's all on the ground. And there's
I appreciate you sharing those pictures and you can send those to me via email. And that would be a separate issue though from the vegetation buffer that we're discussing tonight. And as far as just to answer any questions that you may have about that, Dave, is that a common practice in construction sites? What information can you give us on that?
At times, contractors will bury scrap wood or wood debris in locations where it's not going to affect construction, like a foundation or road bed. It's a practice that in the past has come back in road building that's caused some issues if it does degrade. But generally, it's not creating, you know, a hazardous condition. You're not going to fall down a hole, for instance. It may over time, you know, degrade and the ground surface will go down a little bit, but it's not like it's going to create a crater there. Okay. So it is a practice, just to answer that question. It's where it's done is more of the concern in construction.
Oh, okay. 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 You know, that area around my house. So you're saying that's within 60 feet, how you said earlier? It is? From my property line?
Yes,
Okay.
and actually, if we could, I'm trying to show the reason we designed that diagonal, the driveway in there was, you know, we could have went maybe all the way back on the lot line, but it's really no need to, you know, we wouldn't want to go in the trees too, is drive. So afterwards, I guess I'd like to talk.
Okay. You like to not to? What'd you say?
Okay, again, we can't go back and forth like this. It's supposed to be going. Thank you for your comment.
May I make one more comment?
Okay,
May I ask a question, Mr. Dean?
ask the question to us,
Okay.
and then he'll try to answer it when he comes back up. And
What
we're
happened
in.
to the wood chippers in referencing what he just had to say, Chris had to say? What happened to the wood chippers out there? They were going for hours and hours and had lots of piles of wood chips, but now they choose to bury it? I know what you mean. I know what you're talking about, but that doesn't seem to make any sense. Why have the chippers out there, not use them?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask you one more thing? Real quick?
Quickly.
You know, here we are at this hearing, but this buffer deal was started before this hearing. I mean, isn't that breaking the code? Any codes here of starting something that he's requesting, and it's already been started, and sometimes it feels like this hearing sort of, why are we having this hearing if you guys already proved the process of this?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I got a question. If this was not to be approved, is this something that the planning commission is approving now? Or is this a recommendation back to the council?
This would be a recommendation back to city council to amend this this condition. As far as the condition goes, it is my understanding that this is not a required condition. It's the buffer itself, the 50-foot buffer is a requirement of this plat. It's a requirement of the PUD. And as far as the vegetation disturbance, that was just part of the condition, and that is something that we can amend. But the 50-foot buffer itself is not something that we can amend.
No,
That's a
I
requirement.
recognize that. I'm just looking for what's happening to the, you know, we're grading in an area that wasn't supposed to be graded. We're taking trees out of an area that wasn't supposed to be touched, according to the original language of the
Right, and that would have been an
CUP.
oversight while reviewing both the grading plans and these conditions. I was out on site with the city engineer, with the developer and with the contractor on Thursday. We did identify property lines and we did measure. And as far as, if you can follow my cursor, all in this area, the 50-foot buffer is maintained all the way up in here. It is really up in here where there's going to be the most
That's where-
impact.
That's where the trees are that's gonna
That's-
be removed, right?
Correct. So currently there are no trees that have been removed out of the buffers and that the developer did stop when we discovered this. We had this document created where the original grading plan versus the buffer, where those impacts would be, that way the developer could see where those could be mitigated.
We require revegetation using a specified size of, pine
Ab-
trees, for instance.
Absolutely. Yep.
Cause it should be revegetated with pine trees. It's a year round, obstruction or view then, and putting in 18 inches doesn't do the job, so it's probably looking at 6, 8, 10-foot trees, I would think, to get a start on. But if we weren't to approve this or to recommend approval of it, what's the alternative? Retaining wall?
Why don't you come back up and I'm gonna, if there's no more public comments, I'm gonna close public comments for now. Unless we have another comment. Okay.
Good evening. My name is Mark Kammer. I also live on Pine Haven Road. These are all my neighbors. I can't, anything I'd say right now, I'd just be reiterating what they've already said. And I strongly agree with my neighbors here. I oppose this whole project to begin with. It seems like all these developments, they take down way too many trees than necessary with the plan. While we'll replace them with 8, 10-foot trees, which we'll never see. And that's all fine and dandy in theory, but that's not right. I mean, I've already went through something on Lower Ray Road with this bike trail, and they took down 200-year-old trees, and you can't replace those. You just can't. I strongly, I would hope you guys all take in consideration the people's opinion on this, especially down on Pine Haven Road and all this. I realize there's other questions which doesn't relate to what we're talking about now, but to take down 4 trees is just unnecessary in my opinion. And I just wanted to voice my opinion on that. I agree with everything they said, and to go on, I'd just be repeating what they've already said. So I just like to go on record for that.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
No, we have one more.
Have one more.
My name is Jane Doolum and I'm the representative for the property on the south end of this. And all I have to say is this is my first meeting here and I'm really behind the times on what's happening, but I fully support everything that the neighborhood states. Yeah, taking out more trees is absolutely not necessary. So that's all.
Thank you. Okay, we'll close public comments, and if you'd like to come back up and then we can fire some questions here.
All right, so to answer, and I can understand everybody's position. I mean, trust me, if we didn't have to take the trees down, we wouldn't have. But where I'm going is, so to answer one of the questions, we could put a retaining wall up and we'd have a house right next to it. I could build, we're really gonna have, we're looking for, villa lots where we're gonna end up maintaining the grass and taking care of the snow. Probably doesn't make sense to put a retaining wall and 1 foot away from it, have a house. So we'd probably just take the foundation on one side of the house and bring it up 4 feet. And then it's, instead of having 9 foot, 8 foot, 9 foot sidewalls, the one side is gonna have 4 feet of wall. So could we do it? I mean, I believe we counted, and there would be 13 trees, which 2 of them were dead. or, you know, half broken at the top, so they weren't of great quality. Everywhere else, actually on the 1, 2, 3, 4 lots, we actually have a 60-foot buffer in there, not a 50. But to regrid and so that's where I'm just proposing, I'm thinking a finished lot, being able to get some grading. I'm not even going all the way back into the 50 feet, but we are going into part of it. And I wouldn't need to go from front of the lot to all the way to the rear, just kind of around where the pad of the home was. And I think, you know, Bethany was there, we kind of looked at an area and she could probably verify that that was our count. But on the standpoint of replanting it with trees, you know, if it's 13 out and there's, you know, right, there's some large trees. If it's 8, 10-foot trees to plant along there, if the homeowner right behind it wanted a, you know, a privacy fence, but to me, it's quite a distance. Trees would be a better solution. And to reestablish, you know, whatever the caliber of those trees that we lost, had a plant somewhere else in the parkway, I'm more than happy, because when we're done, you know, we'll have landscape. Instead of when these homes are finished, we're gonna put more than just a, you know, 4 or 6 foot pine back and starting, but you know, we're looking to have a nice neighborhood. But I just look, if you look at that area, I think it just would leave a finished lot, a lot better finished product if to grade it. But it doesn't mean that we wouldn't be able to build the house. It isn't gonna, you know, it isn't like I just think, you know, that product would be, the end product is gonna look a lot better.
How much more time do you anticipate that the grading phase would occur, with special regards to not creating a public nuisance? Like how much longer if people are having to deal with their house vibrating and?
Well, and some of that, it's hard. So I think this week our plan, the rest of the grading would be done this week. And then if we had to even if we, you know, to be honest with you, it's a couple hours to grade that area if it was approved. So the plan is to be finished this week. We were hoping to put curb in and blacktop, but time ran out. So next spring, you know, we have the streets based right now currently, but next spring we'd be back in. So we'd have, you know, put our curb in, blacktop it. You know, they're gonna run a packer again once the curbs are in and get the base completed before blacktop. Could there be some more vibration? You know, but that's kind of just standard building, you know, code. I would say after that, once the packers are done, I would assume, you know, we wouldn't have any more vibration. But grading our goal would be to get it completed this week, but I forgot about the council. So we're probably gonna do all the grading, and that piece there may be, you know, if it freezes up next year, if it doesn't freeze up, could happen yet this year. I guess who knows what Mother Nature brings us.
Any questions from anybody else? David, can you kind of go over what you saw when you were out there?
Is actually Joe DeBell who was out there with Bethany. I wasn't out there, so I couldn't speak directly to that.
Okay. Is there a current plan in place to plant some trees, additional trees? Or are you gonna leave that up to the homeowners, or how is that gonna work to revegetate some of those areas that have been cut down?
Well, I think the so to understand, we haven't cut any of the, you know, we haven't cut any of the 50-foot buffer yet. To do that, I guess I would answer, you know, if it's caliper trees that are coming down that we're replanting or whatever you guys decide, you know, if it's 8, 10-foot pine trees going in, that would be, you know, I don't have a plan on that yet. Currently, when we build a home, we'll put 2 to 4 trees in the yard. You know, when we finish these yards, it's not going to be up to the homeowner to landscape them. We'll have a landscape, sprinkler systems in, sodded. We usually sod the front, hydro seed the rear. Lots 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3 for sure we'll have to sod the whole yard because we did narrow up the grading swale in the back and it just makes it a little bit, instead of long gradual slope, it's just a little more peak now, so.
I think the main thing here is if you remove these trees, let's say there's 11 trees up there that are healthy and good, and you remove those, but in order to put some kind of a break back, a visual break back, you're talking about putting in like I mentioned before, pine trees where you stagger them, you put in 2 rows of them, they're 6, 7 feet apart, and you got them, one in the back row staggers, fits between the spaces of the front ones. So then you can't see through, they go like this, but to do that entire, where the silk fence is showing around there, where these trees taken out, I mean, you're talking a lot of trees.
I think we're talking about, so instead of the 50-foot, it's a 50-foot buffer. We're not looking to go into the whole 50 feet. We're looking to go into 30 of it. And so would we be able to stagger trees? Easy, we could stagger a row of 3 trees, but.
What kind of trees are in there now? What kind of trees are we taking down?
I'm thinking evergreens, pine trees.
No, but I'm saying, what are they taking down?
Yeah,
we're taking pines down right now.
Pine trees?
What kind of pine?
Okay.
Well, what kind of pine? I mean,
Are
a
they-
jack pine is gonna be a lot different than a white
Those
pine.
Norways or jacks or what are they?
I think I can't answer that, to be honest.
White pines?
I didn't see any white pines out
I
there.
didn't see any white pines. I think they're big Norway pines, but I could be wrong.
Okay, Norways. So,
There's nothing bushed out below that, right? Obviously they've grown and
Right.
it's just at the top, to me would be if you had something, we aren't gonna be able to plant that tree, but something good and bushy as a buffer would be at least, it's really just affecting, I'm not
yeah,
sure
the
if
new
one of the
ones,
homeowners here tonight.
new ones would normally be spruce of some kind.
Yep,
Black Hill spruce or blue spruce.
yep.
And if you had, you maybe need 30, 40, 50 trees in there, we can get them staggered in order to create that visual break.
And that's where I'm going, if it's the caliber, if it meant more sense. I mean, there's a lot of trees there, let's just say at caliber it requires 30 trees. I'm okay with that. And if you guys all say you want all 30 trees there, we'll put 30 trees. To me, it would be better to say, put 10 or 15 here, somewhere in the entrance or somewhere. There's other areas that we haven't even touched the trees, put them somewhere in the project, but I'm open to whatever.
We're not in a position to specify how many trees
Yeah.
or anything. I mean, that's gotta be left up to the city staff and the engineering people to work that out with you in the field, so.
And I'm willing to work with them on placement.
You touched on a little bit, so if we were to deny this request, what would you do for this outlot that we're talking about, this one on the north end?
Well, it's actually lot 6, so I would end up just cutting straight 4 feet into the wall, and into the grade. The reason we can't, we have to cut it down just because we can't put the house at the top of the grade, because otherwise we'd have too steep a driveway for the cul-de-sac. So we'd have to end up, if you just looked at the screen, the left side, we'd end up just putting a foundation, foundation wall all the way up to the, probably halfway up the wall, and
The house would become the retaining wall.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, let me get some thoughts from some of you guys. What are you thinking?
Well,
Give me your lean.
Well, I guess I look at, the trees again. I like trees as much as the next person likes trees, but to make the point, are the trees creating a barrier? The 11 trees that are coming down, are they creating a barrier now, or is it just trunks of trees that you see through? I haven't been out there, so I
It's
don't
not,
know.
it's gonna be the trunks right here.
So
I mean,
you're not-
you can stand and look and see quite a distance, because all the growth is at the top now.
Okay.
So,
So that's my thing. So I understand, trees, I like trees, but I also understand trees, storms take trees down, trees come down.
Well, what happens, I mean, in our circumstance. When we cleared a lot and we kept some of the larger trees, they couldn't handle the wind. So when there was a big storm that came up, they weren't used to it and they went down. So that's I mean, with big jacks, that's kind of a concern, especially if you're taking stuff around it and you're losing all the structure, then they're gonna be landing on houses.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I'm not gonna argue, who doesn't want to keep a tree, right? And I've developed, I mean, I've built now for 30 years. I've developed, I mean, I've been, homeowner wants to keep a tree, we save it, and 5 years later, it's a lot to take it down. I'm not saying there isn't a value of the tree, but a lot of times around the perimeter of the house, right? It just, you maybe not get the tree where you want. Is it, now you can replant a tree and have it, have it more where you want it. And now it's growing in that spot. It's, we don't have to worry about even an older one breaking over. Sometimes it's just, you get it, there's a million different things that could happen, right? Even to a new tree, but.
So answer to question to that, with that, I would be leaning towards approval.
Okay, Sean.
Great.
With conditions.
So what kind of conditions? Because I think a lot of the concern is the trees coming down.
Right. No, I think the condition would be that the revegetation with spruce or pine trees, evergreen trees that are sufficiently enough there to create a visual break so that the neighboring properties can't see through.
There wouldn't be a condition on a condition, so you would just amend this condition to include that request as well. And so you could have something, and this is just a recommendation, in a natural forested state as approved by city engineer and city staff.
Right.
You could specify any amounts that you would prefer, but it would need to be in this, and we'd have to determine this tonight, because that would be the condition amendment that would then go to city council.
How many trees would you say were cut down? Good rough estimate.
Oh, I can't even guess, but there's over 100 easy.
Over 100.
Yeah. I mean, was there a lot of trees cut? Yeah, it's just by the grade, and we had we can't really locate the road. Sometimes you maybe can curve a road and do something different, but the sewer line already runs through the center. So the main road, we're basically just following the existing sewer line that was in there. So we're kind of, from 18 to Pine Haven, that line was already designated for us, really.
That's the development and city growth they're connected, cities, you need to maintain a lifestyle, you need to improve the lifestyle in the cities. And you have property that's zoned very carefully according to, with our zoning and subdivision ordinances and our plans, our long range plans, that, property is zoned for housing, for single family housing. Well, if you do that, and the cost of that is if there's trees in that area, you're going to lose trees, because you can't build a subdivision like this without losing trees. And I think the 100 trees that were taken out were more than likely was expendable. It was expected. I think we're just dealing with something a little different in the buffer area, and it's, the neighboring properties have been there a long time, and they're entitled to look at something besides a house sticking up there when you're done. And it's whether the existing trees are just trunks or not, I mean, it's still, when this thing's finished, it should look good, and I think it should revegetating with staggered pine trees and whatever it takes to, create a visual break is the way I think it should.
So the last 20 feet, you said you're only gonna go into 30 feet of the or into the buffer.
Yeah.
So is the last 20 feet, is that pretty thick in there? Is it not thick? Is it?
It's I mean, I wouldn't be able to I didn't do a tree count to say, hey, we're taking out 11 and leaving 10, but it's as thick as what we were. It's as thick as what if there's 11 trees there, or 13, that there's another 13. There's actually more, because we aren't going the whole distance from the street. At the street, I don't really have a house. I was able to leave those. There's a slope. The problem is there's a crown right in the middle of it too. So even if you start going to the 50 feet, the crown drops off So, but it, you know, it's,
Yeah.
it's similar all throughout,
But
I
there's
guess.
vegetation.
Yeah, it's
the
not
last
like
20
we're
feet.
taking these, we're not taking an island of 11 and there's nothing around them.
Okay, so we're not denuding the area.
No,
No.
it's, we're
Okay.
just carving into it.
Okay, but I.
And
something
kind of
should be
putting
worked-
more of
yeah.
a half moon in it really, or,
Yeah.
you know.
I just think something should be worked out with the city staff and the engineering department so that, you know, so that.
Yeah.
We're left with something that looks good when you're done.
And I mean, the one thing I'm gonna say, I mean, we'll have houses, you know, that isn't gonna bring any of the neighbors' values down. I mean, I want the neighborhood looking good at the end of it too, so we will have, you know, plantings. It's not like we're not gonna put any trees back in with the new homes.
So Gary, it's. Are we gonna have a specific, would you like to add a condition with a specific amount of trees? And if we are gonna do that, Bethany, is that even
Yeah, no,
feasible? Is that a feasible thing that the staff can review?
I believe setting a number at this point would be arbitrary. I don't know
I don't
if,
think we can do
I
that.
think to amend the condition to specify the type of buffer you'd like to see revegetated, I think that would be appropriate. I think having it approved by city staff, having it approved by the city engineer, you have it approved by anybody you want, depending on the caliber of the revegetation that you want.
So we think that you can make that determination on what would look good after consulting with engineering in terms of reestablishing the buffer and adding some more trees.
So city staff and
City
engineer.
staff, yes. Okay. Well, you could make,
I'm trying to.
yeah, just how to word that.
I would move that we
Would you like-
recommend approval of the CUP amendment 031-23 to amend condition number 13 of the approved CUP and plat to allow for regrading or required grading for Nisswa crossings to allow the removal of the trees as specified by the city staff and the planning report, and that the area be, I'd like to use the word significantly, but the area be reforested with a pine tree, a spruce, Black Hill spruce, or that type of tree in a double staggered row. And now that I leave that up to Whitsett Smith has people in their staff that know exactly how far apart these trees should be, if they're 8 feet high or 10 feet or whatever, you know, and so.
You want to specify a maturity? Like you can't put in saplings?
No,
No.
I'd say at least 8 feet.
All right, then I would propose, would you like me to read this then? Okay. The 50-foot buffer around the perimeter of the planned unit development shall remain in a natural state except for road areas. Once grading is complete, the disturbed vegetation in the buffer shall be revegetated and maintained in a natural forested state of at least 8 feet in height as approved by city staff and engineer. Structures may not be constructed in the buffer.
You know, there's something in there about coniferous trees? You know, pine trees. We shouldn't be putting deciduous trees in there.
I will add in a natural coniferous forested state of at least 8 feet as approved by city staff and engineer.
You'll have an instant visual barrier this way, and I think that's.
Would you like me to add staggered?
I prefer to see staggered, but it's not totally up to me. This is a city council decision, so we're just making recommendations.
And I understand what you're saying on the buffer, right? You know, and
Yeah, I can tell by your conversation that you know exactly what we're talking about here, so.
I mean, in some other developments we have, in the last 3 weeks, we planted about 200 trees.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Would you like me to read it one last time?
I think so.
Okay. The 50-foot buffer around the perimeter of the planned unit development shall remain in a natural state except for road areas. Once grading is complete, the disturbed vegetation in the buffer shall be revegetated and maintained in a staggered natural coniferous forested state of at least 8 feet as approved by city staff and engineer. Structures may not be constructed in the buffer.
Yes, I'll go with that.
Maggie, you get all that? Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
All those opposed? I will be nay.
Thank you.
Motion passes. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
I will second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. New business, 2024 Planning Commission meeting dates.
Thank you, Chair Young. I have prepared a calendar for 2024. That's that time of year that we have to start thinking about deadlines coming for the next meeting. I don't know if you had a chance to review it. Everything is pretty normal and sorry, excuse me.
Not too much areas left, actually.
Sorry about that. All the dates are as normal. They are the first Tuesday of every month for the Planning Commission. However, there are 2 dates that coincide with elections, and much like tonight, we had to move the date. Those proposed changes are March 6th. It's a Wednesday evening in lieu of Tuesday, March 5th, and then Wednesday, November 6th instead of Tuesday, November 5th. What I'm looking for tonight is just a recommendation, as this will go on the consent calendar at the city council meeting for approval. Do you have any questions?
No, do we need a motion for this?
Mhm.
Yes.
I'd move to approve the planning commission proposed meeting date to schedule for 2024 as submitted by the staff.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Old business, we have none. City planners report.
The city planner report, there have been 14, actually, there's been a lot more. I had quite a bit that were approved last week. Things are slowing down. I've noticed in the last just half a week that it's gone from a normal amount to nothing. So at this point, just getting through the last remainder of those permits that we have and getting those approved. In addition, we did not receive any applications for the Planning Commission meeting for December, and I would propose to cancel December's meeting if that is something that you would like to do. If anybody has anything that they would like to see on the agenda, I'd be happy to keep that date. But right now, we don't have any agenda items for December.
Do you need a motion to?
I would need a motion for that. as well.
Okay,
For next month.
Correct.
Not having one.
not having one.
As long as you make a motion.
Yes.
I'll make a motion.
Does that mean we get
A second.
docked?
But I'm not sure how that works.
So do I need
I've
to
never
finish
had
up
this
on that
happen
motion?
before, so.
Motion was from Sean, second
Second.
Danny.
Okay, so at this point, the December Planning Commission meeting has been canceled, and the next Planning Commission meeting will be held on Tuesday, January 2nd.
Maggie, that was anonymous.
I figured as much.
Okay.
Ah,
All were in favor of it.
Oh, unanimous, what I meant.
Are you sure nobody nays?
No,
Can I come back
No.
and see us?
No.
we can come and see you.
Okay, any other questions, comments?
In January, we will have some information on the next round of ordinance revisions. I have started working on those with Chris Pence, and so we will get those started and we'll have a whole nother fun round coming your way. These are all primarily just the legal requirements for PUDs, mostly in the shoreland district, and other commercial performance standards and requirements for shoreland. Any questions?
Nope. Good. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.